Welcome back to another book video. Today's video I'm going through my March reading wrap up. There is 8 books we're going to go through, which I'm super excited about. I've had some really good reading months at the start of this year, but I'm also going to include my February reads as we left off my last book video in January. So let's just do all the book content. I also have my beautiful shelf behind me that I've built, and I'm going to give a nice bookshelf tour at the end, as this just shows like you don't have to have a million books or a library. I know we all desire one and we all see the book girlies on YouTube and we want a library, but hopefully maybe this inspires you to just build a mini little bookshelf where you can store all your books and have fun with it and get creative. So it's all happening in today's book video, which I love. These are probably my favorite videos to film because I love books and I feel like it is the best community on here. So starting off really strong, after I read A Court of, what's it called? A Court of Frost and Starlight, I had to finish off ACOTAR. And I was so skeptical about this one, A Court of Silver Flames, because everyone had either said like it ends up being their favorite, but it goes into a completely different point of view. So basically in this one you are following Nesta, and I feel like she's just a completely different character compared to Feyre. So you either kind of love it or you hate it. Just a very, I guess, she's angry, she doesn't like how she's ended up kind of in this world, but it follows her story, and I really loved understanding her better as a character. And I feel like if you love this book, a lot of people might have related to her. I'm not sure that I necessarily related to Nesta, but I guess a bit of a fiery soul in her I loved reading about, and how she kind of, I think she made some silly mistakes, but then, you know, she learns and she grows and all that kind of stuff. But the way this is written was really, really beautiful. A lot of people had said like it's way too much spice. I guess it is a spicier book, especially compared to ACOTAR, the first one. Went from YA to very adult, but I honestly, that was not the main plot for me, but I think for some people that was what stood out. But for me, just her character building and her relationship and the journey she goes on, and the fact that she's like living in another house and then she's living in the house, oh, like there's just so many different plots in this book that I really enjoyed the way it wrapped up, and I really hope it continues on from this book. Like, Sarah J Maas, are you writing the next book? I need to know. I know there is rumors, but yeah, I really actually, this solidified the deal for me that ACOTAR became one of my favorite series, and I'm gonna say it's thanks to this book. As much as I know ACOWAR and ACOMAF, the 5 stars favorites, this topped it for me, and this became my favorite ACOTAR book. I can't remember what I rated it on Goodreads. Let me have a quick look. I hope I rated it 5 stars. I did. Why am I doubting my own rating, knowing that months later I'm like, yeah, this is a 5 star. I'm doing these wrap ups, I'm like, why did I rate it like a 5 star? It's probably like a 4.5, but this, I was like, I hope I rated it 5 stars because I still think about it. I suggest reading it on your Kindle so you can fly through it a little bit quicker, because she's chunky. She is 750 pages. Finished February very strong with A Court of Silver Flames. Then I was like, okay, Sarah J Maas, I'm continuing on, what is it called? Throne of Glass series, the TOG. So I had read a couple of the first books. I think it's like the first 3 or first two, depends where you put the little prequel. But then I read Crown of Midnight and really loved it. Binged the last 200 pages really quickly. Yeah, I found it a really slow start, and then if you get into it and if you stick with it consistently, I feel like if you take too many breaks, you will fall out of line with the storyline. But if you can read it really fast, you definitely get more engaged. I find that's been happening to me with the whole of Throne of Glass series. If I take too many breaks, I'm pulled far too out. But really loved where this one took off and solidified that I was like, yes, I definitely want to keep reading Throne of Glass. Really loved Selena, and now I feel like I really know her character by this point. So this was a 4 star for me because I loved it. I really loved it, and I was like, yes, I'm in the series now. Then after Crown of Midnight, I decided I need palette cleansers, but not too much so that I would fall out of the series of Throne of Glass. On my Kindle, joint authors all created little Valentine's Day books, and it was the Meet Cute series. I read a couple of them. So yes, they're technically novellas and they are super quick to read. Some were 40 pages, some were 80 and some were 120 pages. That just helped palette cleanse. I was doing a lot of little travels and I just wanted to still read, but I couldn't get into my physical books while I was away. So the Kindle helped me out here. And there is nothing wrong with reading a couple of novellas, and that also helps tick away at your Goodreads goal. But also, let's get into these books. The Meet Cute series, I loved them, like genuinely loved them. There was some crying at one particularly. And I was like, wow, the fact that you can really engage me in an 80-page book and have me heartstrings pulling, like, it was incredible. So let's talk about it. First one I read was by Abby Jimenez. It's number 2 of the Meet Cute, but you do not have to read any of them in order. They're all standalones. But it was The Worst Wingman, so I'll pop them up. This one was one of my favorites. It was, guy asked his brother to do him a Valentine's Day favor and go put this sticky note on his girlfriend's windshield, but he put it on the wrong car, and then it ends up just being, keep switching back these little messages because he realizes he puts it on the wrong car, so then he's apologizing on another sticky note, and then she replies. Anyway, it's like this whole thing, and then the Meet Cute situation just is perfect. Something about she was losing her grandma along in this plot line, and it was just beautifully written for such a short little book. So I actually rated this one 4 stars, and I feel like I can't rate a novella higher than 4 stars. So it's always like a 2, 3, or a 4, I feel. 4 just means like, for a novella, this was perfect. Like, I wanted to read a whole book of this. Anything Abby Jimenez writes is just beautiful, and I could always read. And I read With Any Luck, which is the Meet Cute number 5. This was Ashley Poston's, and I feel like because I loved The 7-Year Slip, I really wanted to read one of hers. I can't remember this one, but I rated it 3 stars. And that's the thing with these little books, I can't remember the plot twist. I can't remember the plot, but the fact that I remembered Abby Jimenez was because I loved it so much. Oh, that's right. This girl thinks if whoever she kisses, they end up always finding their true love after her. So if she gets with this boy, then his next girlfriend is like his forever one. So she's like, I can't kiss people because then they always go ahead and find their true love. It's never gonna be me if I kiss you. So it's like this little superstitious thing she has because of her luck. So with any luck, maybe she can kiss a boy that will not then find someone else. I rated that 3 stars because I feel like it did what it needed to do, and it was super Meet Cute. Then I did The Exception to the Rule, which was Christina Lauren, which I have not ever read any other books from her other than Love and Other Words. I mean, I know it's 2 authors joined together, but they wrote The Exception to the Rule, which I rated 4 stars, which I really liked this one as well. I was like, this is perfect. It's 4 stars, but it's not 4 stars like Ashley Poston's was, but this was still a 4 stars because it was more than the 3. I read 3 of those and I loved them. So that's my little palette cleanser, 3 little novellas from the Meet Cute series, a Valentine's Day special edition kind of thing they did on Kindle Unlimited. Highly recommend reading them if you want to get a few more numbers up on your Goodreads, but actually have a good time reading a cute little romance. Then go for it. And I'm a sucker for Valentine's Day, so I thought it was really cute, and I did read it around the time of Valentine's Day. Straight back into Throne of Glass, and I read Heir of Fire. It's a struggle for me to get through, but then again, the last half just had me hooked. I read it consistently, so I feel like it's not a Throne of Glass problem, it's a me problem, because I'm just like slowing down, and I'm really trying not to miss information as well. So I feel like that's why I'm slow, but then I speed it up, and I end up loving it. So it was 4 stars from me because it did not let me down, and I'm still loving this series. So that was, I don't know what else to say, because by this point in the series I can't give you much of a recap because then it will be spoilers. So all I'm gonna say is just keep reading the Throne of Glass series. I have not finished it yet. It's gonna take me a while because the little Tower of Dawn and tandem reading is daunting me. Then I went back to a book that I have always highly recommended this series, but I had never finished it off, and I don't know why, I just couldn't get through this book. Anyway, I was like, I think it's just me, I'm not actually putting in the effort because it felt a bit repetitive at the start, but that is kind of the whole series. It's toxic, it's repetitive, we all know that, but it is addictive. But I just wasn't addicted, and I was like, you know what, Lilybelle, you're actually gonna finish this. You're gonna sit down and you're gonna read it and you're gonna finish it. And then I literally read probably 70% of it in 2 days, and that is Daisy Haites and The Great Undoing. And this became a 4.5 stars. I think it's a 4.75 even thinking about it, but It's crazy to me that this turned into 4.75 when I was ready to DNF it. I'm kidding you. I had read like the first 30% or so, and then it sat on my shelf for probably 6 months. Like, it took me so long to finally get back to this, and then it became 4.75. I loved it, and I think I can't give it a 5 because of not getting into it consistently. Loved it so much. Daisy Haites is not my favorite Magnolia Park series, so I feel like the Magnolias have been 5 stars, and yes, I am reading the very new one, which is The Last Magnolia, and I'm reading it quite slowly, so I'm just taking my time with it, enjoying it, but hopefully I don't do what I did with this one. A lot of people love Daisy Haites books more than Magnolia, but I'm a Magnolia and BJ fan personally. I loved that in this one, now I'm rambling, but I loved that in this one we actually read so much about Magnolia and BJ, so I think that's why I ended up loving it so much towards the end. Then on my Kindle, which I have ordered the books now, I've ordered the whole series because I think it is becoming a new favorite series for me because the book was 5 stars. Is this my first 5 stars? A Court of Sylvan Flame was my 5-star read in February, but this was my first 5 stars in March, and this was on the last day of March. The Cruel Prince. I rated it 5 stars. I know this is like an OG book talk. Everyone talks about it. They love it. They hate it. But I was watching Hayley Pham's video the other day, and she got the special edition of Cruel Prince, but then there's a couple books that follow on from the Folklore series that have just been released. And she loved it. She was like, oh, I'm back in the world, and it was one of her favorite books, and I just remember her talking so highly about it, and I was ready for a quick read, and it was on Kindle Unlimited, so it literally sold me for free except that now I've ordered the physical copies. But when I saw it on Kindle Unlimited, I was like, I just need to read something other than Throne of Glass or other than Magnolia Parks, and I binged it. I could not put this book down. I binged it on the last 2 days of March, and it was a 5 stars. It gave me everything I wanted to. The romance is not even a huge part of this book. It is just an easy, beautiful fantasy. If you love reading about fairies, and just the way they kind of write is so beautiful. Like, I just loved it. Like, I was in a whole different world, and I could really visualize it the way it was written by Holly Black. So Cruel Prince, you were my first 5-star of March, and I am obsessed. I've already started reading The Wicked King, which is number 2, but yeah, I ordered the whole box set. I'm actually smiling so much about that book. It is probably my biggest recommendation. I can't believe I didn't jump on the bandwagon earlier, but I think just seeing the new release within that world, just, you know, to give it a go, and I'm so glad I did because it was a 5-star, which I definitely was not expecting. That is the wrap up on the 8 books I read across February and March. Yes, some of them are novellas, but I hope you're still feeling inspired to just read and just have fun with reading, and that's why I do not mind just having 8 books, which is still a lot to me. I'm a very busy person. This is not my career, so it is so fun to just read 8 great books. I don't think I had any misses. I don't think I've really had much misses for this whole year so far. So I'm having a great time reading, and let's jump into what I'm currently reading. And I'm getting pins and needles, and I'm sweating. This is my favorite mug, and I have not drank coffee out of a different mug since I got this mug gifted to me. I don't know what it is, but you just have your favorite coffee mugs. My current reads, this first one is barely a current read because I have not read it in ages, but I'm actually listening to it on Audible, so we'll see if I pick it up again in my ears on any of my walks or drives. Things We Hide from the Light. I just don't know if the Knock 'Em Out series is for me, but then I loved the first one, so I think I just need to keep listening to it on Audible and get it done and then see if I love it. But yeah, the second book in the Knock 'Em Out series. Let me know below, should I keep reading? Should I get a bit more intrigued in this and consistently either listen to it or keep reading it, and tell me, will I love it? So the Knock 'Em Out series number 2 is on my current reads. I haven't really started reading this. I think I read like a chapter, but I need to read Bride, so it's just kind of on my radar / a current read, but I would definitely probably start it again whenever I pick this up. But Ali Hazelwood Bride, there is so many like conflicting, you either love it, hate it, in between. It was a new release, so let me know, should I do it? Should I give you my thoughts? Should I try and get through Bride? I feel like I'm going to like it, but I'm not really sure. Ali Hazelwood I haven't loved all of her books, but then I love that this is a totally different, like paranormal kind of, I don't know what it is, romance. Anyway, I am currently in Queen of Shadows, so I'm reading it on my Kindle actually, which I bought it twice, but Queen of Shadows, loving it so far. I think I'm 30% through. So yeah, this is a big current read of mine. I don't know why I'm reading so many books, but I was a bit bored and needed a romance, so I'm slowly getting through Saving Six. Can slowly get through this because it is a similar timeline to Binding and Keeping 13. It's just told from Joey's point of view. Really do love this series with my whole heart, so I'm just slowly chipping away at Saving Six by Chloe Wolfe. My last current read is Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. So I would say Bride and the Knock 'Em Out series is not really a current read, but I'm definitely currently reading these three. I don't know why I'm slowly getting through all these different big books. I just sometimes need to switch it up in order to stay intrigued, as well as The Wicked King, which I think I'm actually going to binge probably very quickly because I think I can just smash it out on my Kindle while I'm just really invested in the world. Straight off the bat of The Cruel Prince 5-star, I jumped straight into that. So I will wrap that up very soon. I hope you definitely see these books in my next wrap up. Otherwise it means I need to kick my butt into gear and stop reading so many books at once. Comment below if you read multiple books at once, or do you just kind of, you know, just stick with the one, which probably makes more logical sense. What a good stack here. Hopefully even maybe my current reads or my past reads inspire you. But yeah, it's been a really good reading month. I'm really enjoying reading. I'm going to put my stack of books away and then I'll give you a little tour of my shelf. Let's start at the very, very top. I actually have a couple of little plant books because I'm studying naturopathy, so that's what's at the very, very top. So then all the way up here I have the beloved Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which I love so much. So I have the new one, A Curse of True Love, because this cover is probably my favorite. Then we have Once Upon a Broken Heart, Ballad of Never After. Yes, it annoys me so much that these are different sizes, but anywho. Then over here is definitely also a couple of my favorite fantasies. We have Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. I don't know why I have that back to front. Then Divine Rivals, Ruthless Vows, also back to front. I need to sort that out, but definitely some of my favorite books up here. The next shelf, definitely my beloved favorite ACOTAR series. So here we have Colossal Flames, Frost Starlight, Akabor, Akamath, and ACOTAR. So love, love, love. Then we have Bride, which we talked about, Powerless, which I also love. I haven't got my hands on this one, but I need to wrap up some of my other current reads. But I have Throne of the Fallen, which is also super highly talked about. Romantasy, fantasy, other shelves. And here I have, of course, the Throne of Glass box set. None of This Is True, Yellow Face, which I also really love. I have a couple of my bookmarks in here. And then I have two of my most recommended books I tell everyone to read, and one of my favorite series is The Housemaid Secret by Frida McFadden. My Magnolia Parks universe. I just love having a whole shelf to display these. I actually wanted to display them all, but I definitely don't have a wide enough bookshelf. A few little romance books. So I have the Addicted Callaway series, only the first three, Addicted for Now, Ricochet, and Addicted to You. Then I have the 7-Year Slip, which is one of my absolute favorites. Book Lovers, You and Me, On Vacation, Beach Read, and Happy Place. So this is just Emily Henry. I have ordered her new one. Then I have Abby Jimenez. I have read a lot more of her books, which I would display if I ever get another shelf. I only have the Happy Ever After playlist and Yours Truly, but I have read like Part of Your World and a couple others, so I need to purchase them. Then on my very last shelf, I have the Boys of Tommen series. I still need to get the next one, which is Redeeming Six. Then I have one of my absolute favorite books, which is Windy City series, and the next one is coming out very soon, Knock 'Em Out, which I also don't own the remaining part of the series. This is my bookshelf tour. This is the Billy bookcase, and it's just the smaller version, but the exact same height as the big one that you often see on a lot of the book channels where they have the library made out of the IKEA Billy bookcases. I'm thinking I do want to get either another one of this size, because I just think the big one would be so great, but I don't think it's gonna work in my room. So maybe if I just get another one the exact same as this size to put next to it, could be very ideal, because my book collection keeps growing. Like, where am I gonna put the Cruel Prince trilogy that I just ordered? I will see you again on this channel very, very soon, but I hope you enjoy as usual. Give it a big thumbs up. A subscribe would mean the world to me. This lighting keeps changing. I think that is my cue to wrap it up here, but lots of love as always from Lilybelle Lifts.